1, 2, 3, 4. Mike and John got it going on. Mike and John got it going on.
I think you should start us off today.
You think I should?
Yeah, you haven't done it in a while.
All right. How's it going? How you doing?
How you doing?
All right, we'll start over. It's Mike and John got it going on here at our headquarters at Remax Platinum, and our good friend Jordan Genso making sure we're all set up here for today's podcast. Of course, we've got local news. You want to check it out, you can do so by going to mikeandjohnpodcast.com. Local news brought to you by our friends at Cooper and Binkley Jewelers in downtown Brighton. Of course, sidewalks are in. You can make shopping real easy for you now. You can shop online, visit them on Facebook, and if you're interested in getting a custom designed diamond, they can take care of you because they're getting ready for their trip to Antwerp, Belgium, the diamond capital of the world. Find out all the details at cooperandbinkleyjewelers.com, or better yet, stop by and visit Mark and Barb in downtown Brighton. Cooper and Binkley Jewelers. Appreciate their sponsorship. And today, we're going to learn about life.
Yeah, well, we are?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't prepared for that.
Cereal, that
I
is.
was,
No, I prefer the original because Mikey likes it.
Yeah. And you mentioned Remax Platinum. You know, our neighbor here in the Remax building is Lisa Rigato. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Have you complained to management about us yet in the homeowners association?
You're literally on the other side of this wall, and I know a couple weeks ago you walked by and you're like, am I too loud? And I'm like, are we too loud? And somehow I think maybe the noise just cancels it out.
I think it must, because I am always more concerned for you guys because you're recording and trying to have a little more clarity on what's going on over here, whereas me over there, it doesn't matter so much.
I don't know about that.
I think it's too loud. It's John's fault.
Yeah,
Usually. That I will
That's a
agree.
given.
It usually is. It is my fault. So you do, I mean, is it life coaching, personal coaching? How would you refer to it?
It's life coaching,
Okay.
and that's really the simplicity of it. I meet with a lot of different people on a lot of different reasons for different things, but it all comes down to if everything in your life is in balance, then it translates into the other areas of life. So if personally you're dealing with something that is challenging, whether it could be, relationship issues or financial issues, it's going to impact you on a professional level. And likewise, if you're dealing with struggles or professionally, it can impact you personally. So it's kind of finding that balance between the two and making it all work.
So we haven't seen people, because we're here only for a short period of the week, we haven't really seen people come into the office. Do you meet with them inside your office, or is it all Zoom or via phone, or a combination of everything?
Yeah, it's a combination of everything. There are some clients that I go to their offices to meet with them. A lot of people come here, but I also do a lot of Zoom. I didn't do any Zoom before COVID, and kind of expected.
Most of us did not.
Exactly, right?
And did your business or your clientele increase during or after COVID, or even as a result of COVID?
That's a great question, because I really sort of expected it to decrease. But it actually increased. And in fact, my husband, who isn't always the most optimistic person, he said, you're probably, this is going to be the first thing people cut, because a lot of my customers, my clients are corporate, where they hire me to work with their employees, kind of like here at Remax. But I got a call from one of my bigger clients at the time, and he's like, I want to talk to you. And Gary's like, yeah, see. And they go, Gary.
Negative Gary.
And the president of the company was calling to say, our employees are really struggling. I think I want a few more people to be meeting with you. And so that was like a very pleasant surprise in the midst of that time.
Well, if we all think back on that time, because when the shutdown first happened, you're all like, it'll be a week or two, and we'll get through it, and then it's more than a week later.
Not to get too specific, but maybe to generalize a little bit, with what you saw as far as those increases in people, what were some of the most common troubles that people were talking with you about?
It was really, I think, being stuck at home, because even though they were working, it was like you had families stuck at home, parents who were trying to homeschool their kids, spouses who were stuck in the same place, without space. That was so challenging for people. So, being able to work with them through that, one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is identifying what you want, kind of like where are you versus where do you want to be. So kind of working through that process with them and finding those nuggets of areas that you can change in a situation where you didn't feel like you had a lot of options.
Yeah, so I guess for a lot of folks, I guess what is the difference between, say, life coaching and, say, a therapist? I know, because it sounds like a lot of what you do, somebody might think, that's what you go to a therapist for. But what's the difference there?
That's also another great question.
Thank you.
Because I've had people say, well, you're not a therapist. But it was a client of mine who actually said, no, you're not a therapist, but coaching is therapeutic. And I think the difference is that I meet people where they are, which I'm not saying therapists don't do that, but I work probably more in what is surface level things, like occurrence things, right? So I think therapists do a lot more deep diving into past, and I'm not saying that we don't sometimes bring up past and kind of how did we get to where we are and what happened in the past that may have brought us there, but mine is more about what are you doing now, what's impacting you now, what choices are you making now, and how can we get different results.
Is that maybe where the coaching part comes in? Because I think with therapists, and my wife is a psychologist, so I somewhat know this, but I think their job is to, like you said, kind of do a deep dive psychologically and talk about those issues. But what I think they tend to shy away from is telling you what to do, or saying, well, this is what you really should do. More or less, I think they're talking about various issues and maybe something like that. It sounds like, but from the coaching perspective, the life coaching perspective, not that you tell people what to do, but I think you offer more of a path.
That's exactly correct. Yes, and it's that ability to be able to. I tell my clients all the time, especially potential clients when I'm meeting with them, is like I link arms with you. We together develop a plan that's going to work for you, and then I have that support and accountability for you. So if they feel like maybe they're not making the progress they wanted, well, let's figure out what obstacle that you've placed in your path that needs to be overcome. And so it is a lot more feedback. It's not unlike truly sports coaching, where you have that objective observer watching you and saying, you know what, if you make these adjustments, you're probably going to get different results. So it is very similar to coaching athletics, but with the areas of your life.
Right.
Mental athletics.
Yes.
Kind of like that. But and sometimes, as a trainer, as a personal trainer, there are some of those things you're referring to as, if you try it this way, you might have better success. But sometimes people have those barriers right in front of them and they refuse to let them go.
Yes.
So how do you deal with that?
It can be very tricky. I have some people who are very ready and willing to look and see, oh yeah, you're right, I am doing that. And some people who will be like, no, I don't do that. And I'm like, okay,
do you really?
Maybe, could you possibly be doing that? So I give them a little more time and try to take a little bit of a different perspective. Like I said, it's really, really about meeting them where they are, but not letting them stay there. So it's like a gentle, let's go together, let's take the next step.
Instead of kicking the butt a little
exactly.
Kind of general way.
To me, I think the life coaching is becoming more and more needed, because I think, personally, for me, I think I would enjoy that experience, because you have these ideas, you have somewhere that you want to go, but do you really want to listen to your family or your best friend? They don't know.
Do you really want to listen to your family?
They don't know.
Exactly. It's nice, like you said, to have an outside perspective, to even just maybe confirm that you are on the right path, or no, don't go that route. So I think maybe a therapist to some people is scarier.
A little bit of a stigma.
Whereas, and like you said, you link arms and you create this path, and I think that's so comforting and amazing. I think it's taking off.
I'm just kidding. Do you ever maybe suggest therapy for
Oh,
some
yes.
people? Yeah, okay.
Oh, 100%,
You're like, that's
yes.
something maybe would be better.
That's
do.
really why we invited Lisa in.
Oh, is this an intervention?
Well, and that would be a prime example of not listening to your family. You know what I mean? Like an outside perspective. Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Well, and maybe your family's right, but you don't want to see that and
Exactly.
getting somebody else's perspective
Yeah.
that's used to dealing with these different people and different issues.
Well, I think another thing that COVID brought out was where people, and I was just talking about somebody about this because they were, the whole thing about, no one wants to work anymore, and ever since COVID, no one wants to work. And I'm like, I don't know that that's true. I think COVID, though, there was the people when people were at home and were getting checks for that period of time. For some people, it did offer a moment to go, what am I doing with my life? Wait, I'm in this job, I'm doing this, and okay, so my bills are being taken care of, and now I have this minute, a couple of months, whatever it was, to think like, wait a minute, what do I really want to be doing? And so maybe that's where the life coaching can be.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think you make a good point, too, about the family. You don't always want to listen to family, but I think part of it is family doesn't always want you to take risks, right?
Right.
Family is more about keeping you safe or keeping the financial situation safe or whatever it may be, whereas an outside person who doesn't know the limitations that you may put on yourself or that your family may put on you can ask you questions that get you thinking kind of outside of the norm or the box that you're currently experiencing.
What's the average age or demographic for you as far as your clientele?
Interestingly enough, I have more men than women, which I always, when I started my my profession, I really expected it to be more women. But I think women typically have a lot of, I have to be able to do this myself. I can be all things to all people. And they tend to organically and naturally put themselves at the bottom of the list of importance.
Right.
And so they're always going to prioritize their children or their husbands or other people.
Yeah, guys aren't like that
Guys
at
are
all.
not like that. So
We can say that freely. No,
Yeah.
no, not putting me before everybody else. We're laughing, but it's true.
But I would say that the demographic is really men between the ages of 40 and 60 is probably the most of my clients fall into
Right.
that.
And that's, you think about that time of life, that's where, I think you're shifting out of the early adult years, you're more getting into the family, and then even, kids are off to school.
Midlife
now,
crisis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how many midlife crises are you dealing with, Lisa?
I cannot confirm or deny that. I mean,
Right.
Like, no, you do
How long
not
do
need the
midlife crises-
convertible.
How many midlife crises can one guy have? I think I'm on number 4 or 5 right now.
yeah.
So, I want to find out more about how people can get a hold of you and find out that. So let's take a break here, though, for a quick second. And remind folks, of course, one of our sponsors is Firehouse Doors. And they've been serving Livingston County for more than 25 years, of course, with excellent service, products, and everything that you need. Firehouse Doors, the company to call, give them a call, 810-599-7480. And also,
If you've got a garage, chances are you've got a vehicle to put in that garage.
There you go.
And you want to make sure it gets taken care of by our friends at Murphy's Family Auto. They can take care of all your automotive needs. Simple things from an oil change all the way to engine, electrical, transmission repair, brakes and tires, and everything you need for your vehicle, whether it's SUV, truck, trailer, or even a mobile camper. They can take care of you. Our friends at Murphy's Family Auto. Your car knows. Tell them Mike and John sent you, and you'll get a 5% discount.
right, absolutely. All right, so for folks who maybe think this might be something I'd like to try out, or how do they get a hold of you?
Probably the best way is go to my website, lisarigato.com. Pretty simple. And you can fill out a form there that just is a contact reach out form, and I will respond. Also, you can always call Remax because I'm here most every day. I am not. I see all my clients here, so it's accessible to people outside of the Remax family. But that's my website's probably the best place to go. And there's gives you a little bit of information of my background, my approach, and there's a little testimonial video on there too if you'd like to see some people talking about the coaching experience.
And for most of your coaching sessions, do you do certain time frames? Is it usually a half hour, 45 minutes, or do you just, depending on the client?
It's typically 45 minutes to an hour because that's usually how long it takes to kind of get through like initial conversation and then into the meat and potatoes of what they were like working on or committed to do. So an hour is the average. Sometimes I have clients who really just want that half hour check in and check out kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And so up on our screen we have your website here, lisarigato.com, 1T.
Yes.
Because I put 2 in and it did not take me to this page.
Yes, a lot of people do that.
Yeah. So, absolutely. They can find all the information there and find out more. And you, not only, like you said, you see people here, but you're also, out and about.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we had you on the podcast last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also, you're very active, you're a very active writer.
Well, I do have a book out, and it was a passionate project of mine. Personal information that one of the things I always wanted to do was be a mother, and I suffered with infertility. And it was a very emotional journey that I went on, and I felt like writing about it was going to be something that was very healing for me, and it was. And so, but the book is very many stories about women, or not just women, I'm sorry, people and their relationships with their mothers and how that impacted their life choices and decisions.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but your microphone just cut out. So I hate when that happens. So we'll just share a microphone.
Okay.
So talk about that again, for those folks maybe that didn't hear quite what you said.
Okay, so the book that I wrote is called Tell Me About Your Mother, and it was a very personal, passionate experience for me because I suffered with infertility. And so dealing with that in the midst of all of my siblings I have 20 nieces and nephews from 4 siblings. I have an additional, I think, 23 or 25 great nieces and nephews out there. So my family is a very large Catholic Italian family. And being the only one who was infertile was a very challenging thing for me. So finding a way to express this in a project that was healing is what that book turned into.
You were kind of being your own life coach on this thing, it sounds like, very therapeutic. So
It was.
Where can you get this book?
You can buy it on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com or in my office on the other side of this wall.
Okay.
So very nice. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. We appreciate you, sort of sharing some of that. I think it was, very interesting for us to think about. I think career changes. Because Mike and I had a very
an abrupt
career change, and so those things come on you sometimes unexpectedly. Maybe you think you see it coming, and then it kind of hits you like a bus sometimes.
How many people in their 50s, and I use that ballpark of, between 50 and 60, where it's like, not quite ready to retire yet, but I'm kind of tired of the world that I'm living in, the business world that I'm living in right now, and making that jump. How many people suffer through, like, the last 5 years till retirement so they can get their Social Security and all that kind of stuff? Is that pretty common? Because you said you see that a lot. You have a lot of men clients. So.
Yes, and it is pretty common, and the thing that's interesting is a lot of these people in these positions can't really change careers at that point, right? Because you're sort of in that final stretch to retirement, so it's a matter of finding and shifting the mindset around that career. So finding the things, extracting from it what you do find gratifying, maybe expanding outside of your career into some other things that are a little more fulfilling.
Volunteering or something, right?
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Mentoring other people, finding the thing that is passionate, that you're passionate about.
All right, very cool. Maybe something people might want to think about is maybe they want to go into theater. Maybe they could go into acting.
Wow, he's smooth.
And if they do, they
Where
might
do
want
they go, John?
They might want to check out the Dio. Looking for a unique night out? Look no further than the Dio Dining and Entertainment, Livingston County's multi-award-winning dinner theater. Whether it's date night or the celebration of a special event, the Dio offers an unforgettable night of food and live Broadway-style entertainment that is sure to earn you a standing ovation. Visit diotheater.com for tickets and show information. So.
Always great shows and great dinner with the show, too. So check out the Dio.
Absolutely. All right, so Lisa Rigato. Again, people can go to your website, lisarigato.com. and they can find all about you there. And
If you saw Lisa on the podcast and you're visiting Lisa while we're doing the podcast,
Yeah.
go ahead and knock on the wall,
Yeah.
so we know. Give us that. What's the
knock?
code?
Yeah.
like
Knock 3 times on the
a
ceiling.
double 3 knock to let us know that you saw Lisa on the podcast and you're next door to us as we speak.
all right.
Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Absolutely. I have a pleasure to have you so much. All right. Well, that's it for us, and we'll be back next week. Right?
Well, yeah,
I don't
think
know.
so.
We'll have to get some life coaching.
Lisa
and figure that
doesn't
out. I
throw
don't
us
know.
out.
So,
All right.
all right. Have a great week.
You've been giggling with Mike and John. Tune in next time and giggle on.